Hi, welcome back to another intriguing episode of Lit Lounge with your host Laurelie. Today we'll be delving into the true artwork, which is Animal Farm. Join us as we trot through the pages of this classic allegory, exploring the farm's political upheavals, uncovering the symbolism behind each animal, and peeling back layers of Orwell's timeless satire. So grab your pitchfork and put on your listening ears. It's time to embark on a journey through the barn gates and into the thought-provoking realm of Animal Farm. So Animal Farm is a novella written by George Orwell, published in 1945. This allegorical tale uses a group of farm animals to satirize the events leading up to the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the early years of the Soviet Union. Let's dive into a brief breakdown of the novel. The story begins with the animals on Mr. Jones's farm, led by the pigs, Old Major, Snowball, and Napoleon, rebelling against their human oppressors. They successfully overthrow Mr. Jones and establish their own government based on the principles of animalism, which is meant to ensure equality among all animals. However, as time goes on, the pigs who assume leadership became corrupted by power. They alter the commandments of animalism to justify their own actions, and the farm undergoes a transformation that mirrors the betrayal of the original revolutionary ideals. The pigs, particularly Napoleon, became indistinguishable from the humans they initially rebelled against. The novel explores themes of power, corruption, and the manipulation of language for political purposes. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others, is a famous line from the book that highlights the hypocrisy of the ruling class. Animal Farm serves as a critique of totalitarianism and a cautionary tale about the potential for revolutionary ideals to be corrupted by those in power. George Orwell's work is indeed a powerful critique of totalitarianism and a warning about the dangers of revolutionary ideals being subverted by those in power. The novel uses the farm and its animals to cleverly mirror the events of the Russian Revolution and the subsequent rise of the Soviet Union. The manipulation of language, as depicted in the changing commandments of animalism, is a central theme in the novel. It emphasizes how those in power can use rhetoric and propaganda to control and manipulate the masses. The famous line, "All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others," encapsulates the hypocrisy and the corruption that can emerge within the systems that claim to be based on equality and justice. Now that we've gotten a short summary of what the book is about, let us dive into a little character breakdown to get an idea of the major characters who had a prominent role to play. Each animal is linked to the origin, tied back to the history of the revolutionary ideals. For example, you'd hear reference to Joseph Stalin and a couple others. So Napoleon, an initial leader in Animal Farm, evolves into a ruthless and totalitarian figure, paralleling Joseph Stalin. He raises a security force of puppies, ousts Snowball, and abandons the animalism's principles. Napoleon's cruelty, incompetence, and historical revisionism expose a corrupting influence of the power and the betrayal of revolutionary ideals, serving as a caution, reflection on authoritarian leadership. Snowball, a pig on Manor Farm, is the driving force behind the revolution and initially surpasses Napoleon in influence. Intelligent and committed to animalism, Snowball designs its principles, leads battles heroically, and works to improve the animals' lives. He teaches them to read, plans a windmill for electricity and income, and envisions better conditions for all. Symbolizing a blend of Leon Trotsky and Vladimir Lenin, Snowball, like them, is eventually ousted by a power-hungry figure, Napoleon, forces him to flee and then scapegoats him for the farm's issues. We have Boxer, a powerful but simple-minded workhorse in the animal farm who wholeheartedly supports animalism and works tirelessly for the farm's improvement. Despite his unwavering loyalty to the pig leadership, particularly Napoleon, Boxer is exploited and sold to a glue factory once he can no longer work, illustrating the betrayal of his dedication. Next is Squealer, Napoleon's chief propagandist in Animal Farm. Skillfully distorts the truth with eloquent speeches, the embodiment of his misleading portrayal of Boxer's death. Squealer symbolizes the disinformation and propaganda tactics employed by Stalin's government to maintain power through manipulation and suppression. We also have Mr. Jones's Raven, who exploits the organized religion as a promise for future rewards, serving both Mr. Jones and Napoleon. His tales reflect the manipulation of religion by leaders, reminiscent of Stalin's strategic rival of the Russian Orthodox Church during World War II. We also have Old Major, the prize-winning boar in Animal Farm. He serves as the initial inspiration for the revolution and symbolizes a fusion of Karl Marx, the founder of communism, and Vladimir Lenin, the intellectual force behind the Bolshevik Revolution, if I pronounced that correctly. After Old Major's death, his skull is preserved and displayed, drawing parallels to Lenin's embalmed body becoming an unofficial national monument. This symbolism underscores the transformation of revolutionary ideals into a manipulated and preserved facade, reflecting the historical events surrounding the establishment of communism in the Soviet Union. Mr. Jones, the neglectful and drunk farmer in Animal Farm, symbolizes Tsar Nicholas II of Imperial Russia. His mistreatment of the animals sparks the revolution, and his later attempts to retake the farm reflect the unsuccessful efforts of post-revolutionary white forces to restore the old order. Though Animal Farm is just a fable on animals revolting against their owners and taking control of things on their own, we have to remember this novel is based off of the 1917 Russian Revolution, and that's why there are so many connections with the animal characters to that of these Russian leaders and Soviet leaders. Let's listen to some interesting facts about Animal Farm by George Orwell. So as we know, this is an allegorical tale, and it is about the allegory of the Russian Revolution. So Animal Farm is an allegory of the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the subsequent years of Soviet history. The characters and events in the novella represent real figures and occurrences during that time. Another fact would be that there is countless satire and totalitarianism writing. Orwell wrote Animal Farm as a satirical critique of totalitarian regimes, particularly the Stalinist era in the Soviet Union. The novel explores how power can corrupt revolutionary ideals. The publication year. Animal Farm was first published in 1945. Orwell finished the manuscript in 1943, but its publication was delayed due to concerns about the critical portrayal of the Soviet Union, which was then a wartime ally of the United Kingdom. The Seven Commandments. The Seven Commandments, initially established by the animals as guiding principles of animalism, represent the distortion of principles over time. The pigs gradually change and break these commandments to justify their own actions. There is also character representations. As previously mentioned, the characters in Animal Farm symbolize historical figures. For example, Old Major represents Karl Marx, Napoleon represents Joseph Stalin, Snowball represents Leon Trotsky, and Mr. Jones represents the last Russian Tsar, Nicholas II. In a sense, these facts highlight the historical and literary significance of Animal Farm and its enduring relevance in discussions about power, governance, and societal structures. So how can we link group and organizational comms to the novel? So I will be looking at leadership and leadership qualities. I will be comparing this to chapter 3 of the novel. So in this passage from Animal Farm, the animals on the farm laboriously engage in harvesting during the summer. The clever pigs, particularly Snowball, devise ways for the animals to use human tools, resulting in an exceptionally successful harvest. Boxer, a powerful, hardworking horse, becomes a symbol of dedication and strength, taking on the motto, "I will work harder." However, only Molly and the cat shirk their duties, and the skeptical donkey, Benjamin, remains unaffected by the changes under the new leadership. The animals establish a Sunday ritual, including a flag-raising ceremony, symbolizing the green fields of England, and the animals' representation of the white hoof and horn. Democratic meetings are held to debate and establish policies for the collective good, with Snowball and Napoleon often expressing conflicting views. Snowball initiates committees with various goals, though many fail. However, literacy classes for all the animals see some success, with the pigs becoming fluent in reading and writing. Snowball simplifies the 7 commandments to the maxim, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, leading the sheep to mindlessly chant it. Napoleon, uninterested in committees, prioritizing the training of puppies born to the dogs Jessie and Bluebell. He raises the puppies in secret, out of sight of the other animals. The revelation that the pigs have been consuming all the milk and the apples sparks outrage. Squealer justifies this by claiming the pigs' need for these resources for their brain work, linking it to the collective good and the fear that Mr. Jones might return if the pigs' intellectual capabilities decline. The animals reluctantly agree to forego milk and apples for the perceived benefits of the farm. This episode underscores the pigs' increasing divergence for the egalitarian ideals of animalism. So there are 4 leadership theories, which is universal, situational, functional, and transformational. And we clearly see that the pigs assume leadership roles. So they were initiating a sense of authoritarian leadership where they were in charge and they had the rules, considering the fact that we see that they were able to change the rules of animalism, which served as guidelines for how the animals should live, and the pigs just decided that they were high enough in power to be able to change the rules. I also think that Squealer had a nature of the transformational leadership, though he wasn't a prominent leader. Actually, he could be, because he was able to convince. He was the convincer for the sort of government system that they had set up there with the pigs in charge, and they would have their speaker who would be able to convince and motivate people and get them to continue doing what they were doing. So to conclude today's podcast, Animal Farm remains a timeless and relevant work that continues to be studied and discussed for its insights into political power, societal dynamics, and the potential pitfalls of the revolutionary movement. The allegorical nature of the story allows readers to draw parallels not only to the events of the Russian Revolution, but also various instances of political upheaval and abuse of power throughout history. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.